to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun. The Giants back at MetLife for a Week 9 matchup with the 49ers, but it was San Francisco that came out on top. 34-24 is the final score. Shaun, the Giants got the ball to start the game, marched down the field for an opening drive touchdown, and then it wasn't until later until the offense got points on the board. What happened?
Yeah, Madelyn, listen, I think this is disappointing for everybody, and this is kind of like one of those quotes that your dad would say, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I think we all expected more. You mentioned it, they started out, opening drive touchdown, and you thought, all right, this is exactly how you want to start the game. And then the offense disappeared. 3 out of the next 4 possessions were 3 and outs. And you can't do that. You can't take a nap that early in the game. And the Niners scored on both of their opening possessions 2 touchdowns. So, you know, right out of the gate, you just felt like the Giants were from behind, and today just felt like a struggle. It felt like it was a struggle on both sides of the ball. Anytime there was a good play, it was like we took 2 steps back. That was both on offense and on defense. Now look, to give up 34 points right now, this 49ers team is just as depleted, if not more depleted, than the Giants roster. This was like the Pinata Bowl. I mean, both teams have been taking a whacking, and they've been injured on so many different positions for both teams. And yet the 49ers scored 34 points. They had done that all season long. So the defense, I feel like they share a lot of the blame in this loss right now, and they just did not have an answer for this 49ers offense. They couldn't get them off the field when they needed to. They had a couple of sacks, and we had a turnover in there that you thought was going to spark this team. And every single time, you know, you thought that the momentum was going to swing the other way, and the Giants would take over the game.
Well, and you mentioned,
just kind of found a way to hurt themselves.
Yeah, and Shaun, you mentioned the injuries. Of course, you know, the headliner injuries. Malik Neighbors out for the season. Cam Scatteraboo out for the season. But on the defensive side of the ball, coming into this game, the Giants' defense is banged up, especially in the defensive back. Javon Holland out for this one. Paulson Adebo out. Cordell Flott out. Art Green out. We saw Tay Banks, and then the rookie 7th-round pick Corey Black getting his first NFL start
and even he got
in this
hurt.
game. And he got hurt. But, you know, Corey came in there last week getting his first playing time after being called up from the practice squad. So a lot of new faces, a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. That's got to affect the communication on the defense.
Well, no doubt it affects the chemistry, and you don't have as many reps in it. But look, in the NFL, it's opportunity for someone to step up, and that's what the NFL is all about. Somebody has to go in there and make a play. And defensively, look, the injuries are definitely a factor, but this Kyle Shanahan coached offense for the 49ers, they exploited the second level. I thought the linebackers were struggling all game long, trying to find who had the football, trying to keep up with, you know, who's out of the backfield. Christian McCaffrey, for the second week in a row, we had a running back wide open for a touchdown in the red zone. Like, that can't happen. Last week it was Saquon Barkley. This week nobody covered Christian McCaffrey, and that wasn't just on that one play. It happened multiple times. So there's some things that are not happening in communication. They're not on the same page.
Yeah, and that touchdown early on in the game when McCaffrey was wide open in the end zone, it looked like Bobby Okereke got picked in the end zone there, right?
Well, that can't happen. Like, if you're a linebacker and you have the running back, you have to give yourself depth. Like, you've got to anticipate everything happens. All the rub routes happen in the red zone. Like, that's exactly what they're designing to do. And Kyle Shanahan's one of the best at that. So, look, Mac Jones has been, he's been managing this offense, and he's been efficient. He was highly efficient. I mean, I think at one point he was 19 for 19. So they were doing a lot of short throws and high percentage passes, just trying to, put together big play drives, 12-play drives, 13-play drives. It was not, hey, we're trying to go deep. So it was the fact that the Giants couldn't get off the field defensively. And, look, they stuffed McCaffrey. Coming into the game, it was, hey, look, we got to slow down Christian McCaffrey. We can't let him run all over our defense. And yet he ended up hurting them more in the receiving game. And as the game went on, he tacked on some more rushing yards. But, frustrating day for the Giants, frustrating day for the fans. There was a lot of red here, a lot of red and gold. And I never felt like the energy was there like it normally had been on the previous home games.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mac Jones' efficiency. He didn't throw his first incomplete pass until the third quarter. Second quarter, though, there was a Brian Burns sack that forced a fumble. Abdul Carter came up with it, a fumble recovered in the air. The Giants defense put the offense in a position, in good scoring position. They weren't able to convert on that.
Yeah, great play by Brian Burns, and look, he continues to have another stellar season. That play was huge, obviously a big turnover. He also had a huge batted pass on a third down that forced them to kick. So Burns is definitely making his presence felt. I think when you look at this 49ers offense, the one thing they struggle with is their offensive line had been struggling. They've been struggling in the run game. They've been struggling in protection. And it just didn't seem like the Giants' defensive line was as disruptive as we thought they were going to be coming into this game.
Yeah, 34-24 is the final score in favor of the visiting San Francisco 49ers. But Giants fans, I want to remind you, join the Giants family for the 2026 season with a season ticket membership. Scan the QR code on your screen to lock in your seats today, or visit giants.com/tickets to secure your seats. Now, we've got much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. After the break, head coach Brian Daboll. Time now for the scoring drive of the game, brought to you by Citizens. For the scoring drive, we'll bring you to the first quarter. 10 plays, 64 yards, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Off the clock, capped by a 15-yard receiving touchdown by that man right there, Theo Johnson. And as a reminder, for every scoring drive this season, Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants, will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work in the community. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn Burke alongside a couple Super Bowl champs, Shaun O'Hara and Carl Banks. Carl, we've got you on the set. We've got to talk about the Giants defense. Just overall, what went well and what went wrong for this defensive unit?
Well, not a lot went well.
Short answer.
They couldn't stop anyone. There were drives where there was one pass and they just marched the ball right down the field. And it's disappointing because you want to be able to play some level of complementary football. When your offense is fighting like heck, you got to be able to get a stop, and you got to get it early in a possession, not when they cross midfield, right? So they didn't stop the run well, and it was a repeat of what we saw last week.
Carl, you listen, the legacy uniforms out here, I mean, I know that always kind of, it brings a different kind of energy, but it also brings Giants fans and myself back to like when you were playing. Like we were watching the Giants defense, the big blue wrecking crew, and that was what the Giants fans are longing for right now. When you're playing a defense or an offense like the 49ers have, Kyle Shanahan is a mastermind with kind of getting guys hidden in routes, misdirection, making it hard. As a linebacker, when you're reading your keys, what makes a Kyle Shanahan offense so difficult to defend?
Well, it's a lot of window dressing, and it's a lot of sleight of hand. But the offense has been on tape, and all you have to do is focus on your job. When, they love to get someone detached, eye control somewhere it doesn't need to be. Focus on your job. And at the end of the day, when you do that, it's just beat the guy in front of you. So they turned McCaffrey loose a couple of times, but a lot of it was just, they just got beat. They got beat.
And you mentioned focus on your job. Shaun and I talked about this in the first segment of the show, but I mean, with so many new faces, so many injuries on defense, yes, there's some guys stepping in and the communication. Is part of it too the trust factor of saying, okay, I got to do my job, but I know somebody back there might be new. Do I trust them to do theirs?
Madelyn, they had backups too.
Yeah.
They had backups, and their guys were all on the same page. And there's a trust factor, but as professional athletes, when you're in a position where it's important, that everybody's on the same page in order to find ways to win ball games. The easiest way to lose ball games is lack of communication and not everyone being on the same page. So it's unfortunate. It is what we saw. It is what you saw at home, and there's not much explaining you can do about it other than they just have to figure out a way to get better. Offense continues to fight. They've got to be able to complement each other, though.
Got to compliment each other. 34-24 is the final score. For another perspective on this one, let's send it down to the field where Paul Dottino and Brandon London are standing by for more.
Well, let's start with the Giants' no-huddle offense to start the game. For the fourth time in Jackson Dart's 6 career starts, the Giants went right down and scored a touchdown, but after that, on their next 5 possessions, only 34 total yards and 1 first down. So what changes on the offense and what changes on the defense after that first drive?
I'll start with the defense, and I don't think they did anything differently, Paul. I just think that they did it better. They stayed in that too-high shell, kept everything in front of them to eliminate the big play, and forced the Giants to try and drive down the football field. Anytime you get into a double-digit plays when it comes to a possession, bad things happen. You get drops, offsides, penalties, that sort of thing. But on the offensive side, what they did was they took Jackson Dart's superpower away from him, and that was his ability to make plays using his feet. He's done a great job with improvisation, but he wasn't able to do that today against this too-high look for the 49ers.
And you'd like to think the emotion of that first touchdown would carry over. It just did not. Okay, at the end of the half, the Giants miss a 45-yard field goal from Graham Gano wide to the left. They go into the locker room at 17-7. As a player, how costly is that deflation?
Well, you saw Brian Burns when the kick was missed. He's the one that created the turnover with the strip for the interception. It's very deflating because if you look at it, towards the end of the game, the Giants, instead of trying to stop a 49ers offense and hold them to get the ball back down one possession, they were down 2 possessions. So you wanted to create some sort of momentum, and that was the moment. Unfortunately, they couldn't get that 3 points there to make it a ball game.
And the Niners get the ball to start the third quarter. Finally, let's end on a positive note.
Yep.
Hyatt and Gunnar Olszewski changed roles today.
No.
Hyatt became a kickoff returner, Olszewski became a receiver, and Gunnar catches a touchdown.
Yeah, they gave Hyatt a chance to put his skill set on tape, and that's his speed. And when it comes to Gunnar, he's been doing all the right things since he got here last year. It was glad to see him get into the end zone, and maybe they start looking at him a little bit more at receiver. It's all about audition time now, Paul.
Well, everybody's got to put their best foot forward. Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
Thanks so much, Paul Dottino, Brandon London, for the insight. Just a reminder, guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben and Jack's on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben and Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Giants legacy game in the books. Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn Burke and the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara here hanging out on the set as the Giants fell to the visiting 49ers 34-24, Week 9, falling to 2-7 on the season. A tough one for this Giants team. We saw them score on the opening drive, and then we saw some late-game offensive fireworks. What did you like of what you saw in that fourth quarter?
You know, Madelyn, we saw a lot of missteps early on. We talked about the opening drive touchdown, and then the offense kind of took a nap. They disappeared, and there was some self-inflicted wounds. We had back-to-back false start penalties. Obviously, Marcus Mbow filling in a right tackle for Jermaine Illuminor. I thought he actually played really well. I thought he held up. He had one bad play where he gave up a sack. Looked like his leg kind of buckled. But I'll tell you, the one thing, if you're walking out of the stadium right now as a Giants fan, Jackson Dart is fun to watch. You know, he's their leading rusher. That's not how you want it. You don't want your quarterback as your leading rusher. But even at the end of this game, the Giants scored 2 touchdowns at the end, and it was because Jackson Dart was willing them into the end zone. It was quarterback design runs, it was scrambles, he was making throws, he was making plays, and even threw a touchdown to Gunnar Olszewski, as Paulie Dots just talked about. And you see the life that he brings to this offense. So that's something that is encouraging, but you know, I think every Giants fan's walking out of here disappointed because this was a game against a 49ers team that was so depleted by injuries, and you had a chance for a big win at home. A team that's traveling from California, different time change. The daylight savings time. Yeah, it was all right there.
It was all right there. It was a tough loss for this Giants team. 34-24 is the final score. Let's send it down to the podium where head coach Brian Daboll is addressing the media now.
All right, what do you got, guys?
What do you see when you're with your defense right now? I mean, that's 3 straight games with 30-plus points.
Yeah, and look, they ran it. I wouldn't say they had a ton of explosives, but when they ran it, they were pretty productive running the football. The longest one I think was that last one on 18 yards or whatever, but 4, 5, 6, average 4.1, 40 carries. We got to do a better job in that area. I don't think it's a secret. And we gave up, team game, but certainly got to do better.
So how challenging was that last sequence in the first half? You get the turnover there and don't turn it in anymore.
Yeah, that was a great play by Burns and Abdul, and didn't come away with points. That was you know, I wouldn't say breaker, but I mean, you'd love to have points down there. Didn't get done.
Ryan, are those tears of emotion, or is that just yours?
Is that what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you're saying.
You walked in here, it looked like there were tears coming out of your eyes.
No.
Is that just allergies?
No. No, it wasn't tears.
Coach, I know you have to watch the film, but from your eye looking at the sideline, what do you think of the tackling, particularly in the secondary today?
Yeah, look, nothing was good enough. You know, guys battled, but you know, ultimately not good enough.
Not a lot. You got to fix this. Not good enough. What are you going to do? How are you going to fix this? How are you going to make it better?
Yeah, we got to keep working on our tackling. Thought we eliminated some explosive plays, which was good, but 4 or 5 in the red zone is tough, Dan, and 3 of those were on 3rd down. You know, we got picked on the one with McCaffrey on the way back through there. You know, you just got to keep working at it, making sure you're on top of it, and you know, whether it's finishing catches, finishing tackles, whatever it may be, we got to do it. We got to continue to work on it, coach it better, and then ultimately do it on game day.
Ryan, defensively, when things aren't getting better, whether it's the 30-plus and the 3 straight, the tackling's still an issue, is there a disconnect between what you guys are trying to teach and what's being received by the players?
Well, we didn't get the results, Connor, so again, our guys are working stuff we work on each week, you know, but it's not getting done.
How much did you see the effort wane there at the end?
I just thought they ran hard. You know, B-Rob had that one hard run. You guys were battling. Again, 4 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, whatever it may be in the run game. You know, 40 carries, I think, 39 carries, 100 and some yards, 4.1. You know, wanted to eliminate explosives from McCaffrey, both in the run and the pass game. You know, I thought Mac threw on rhythm, you know, was pretty good in getting the ball, distributing the ball. You know, we missed a couple things that we had opportunities on 3rd down offensively to keep drives going. So.
On the McCaffrey touchdown, you said they get picked. Is that one where you guys are supposed to switch or you stay with them?
Yeah, we got picked. Yeah, they had a nice play design against what we were playing, and they ran across from the opposite side, and linebacker got picked, and you know, give them credit. It was a good play design.
What was the thought process on kicking the field goal when you have 4th and goal to 3 down?
4th and 4.
4, I thought it was 3, but okay.
Yeah. So that was if it was a certain distance, we would have went for it. You know, made it a 10-point game, I believe. That's the reason why.
Overall, what did you think of Jackson Dart's performance today, the diving touchdown at the end, just his progression overall?
I think he battles. Kid gives everything he has, competes 60 minutes, makes good decisions. You know, we got to do a good job of finishing plays around him too. But he's, you know, he battles, and I'm proud of him.
How's he physically, Brian? Because he looked, I mean, there was cameras that picked him up. He looked pretty beat up after the game with Jackson.
You'd have to ask Jackson. I mean, I just saw him coming in. He said he's good. He's not good, though. You know, he's a competitor. So when we get these results, you know, it should frustrate you. It should have you, you know, lack of better terms, not happy.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Why not take him out in the final couple of minutes of these games? Because you know he's ultra competitive. He's going to put his shoulder into guys, and he's that important to your team.
Yeah, well, I was 34 to 24. We had 3 timeouts left. Went for the onside. If we would have held them there, get the ball back with, say, 50 seconds. So we're gonna try to play to the end there, Pat. That's what we're gonna do.
Daves, I think last year you had talked about how important it was to get quarterback play, and it's a level of quarterback play that you're getting from Jackson. Does this feel like a missed opportunity for this team to not get overall play from all phases when you're getting the play that you're getting from Jackson?
Yeah, look, we can all do a better job, but I'd say that he's, you know, steadily improved. You know, continues to make plays, continues to battle, compete, give guys opportunities to make plays, and that's what we got to do.
4 out of 6 games that he's played, you guys have scored a touchdown on the opening drive. What are you seeing in that opening drive that's giving you guys such success?
Good execution.
consider a change in defensive play calling to see if maybe a different voice can spark something?
Yeah, look, none of us did a good enough job. That starts with me, Connor. So we'll continue to work at it.
You mentioned before about Jackson. You said it should frustrate you. You know, you should be upset by that, and he clearly shows that.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that across the board with your team? I mean, some of these guys...
I mean, Jackson's the leader of our football team. I know he's a rookie, and that's a hard thing to do as a rookie. And the way he competes, you know, people need to feed off of that. Again, you know, there's plenty of plays out there that we had opportunities to do, and just didn't get the job done.
Ryan, ownership said after last year, like they expected better results next year, otherwise things would be different this year. How much does 2-7 concern you?
Yeah, we got to continue to improve here. Again, there's some things that, you know, I think are, you know, improving, and there's some things that are not. Yeah, to be 2-7.
It's the end result, right? I mean, how much does that concern you?
Yeah, look, we're not where we need to be.
Did you get enough from Dexter Lawrence today? He had obviously a week in the headlines, Carl Banks saying that he needed to show more.
Yeah, I'd say, Pat, we're going to sit back, take a look at it immediately after the game. Look, the guys battled. We didn't get it done.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Lots of topics covered there in Daboll's media availability, Shaun, but one of them that stuck out is third down. The Giants offense has struggled in third down, 5 of 12 on the day today. What do you need to see from this offense to be able to convert in those situations?
Well, look, third down is a big part of the game. That situation offensively is what gives you momentum. It's what keeps you on the field. It's what keeps you running the football. When you're converting things and the defense gets tired, they were 1 for 6 on third down in the first half alone. Not good enough. And I talked already about it. They kind of fell asleep. They took a nap after that opening drive touchdown. And one of the best ways to be successful on third down is to don't suck on first down. Like, if you do a good job on first down, now you're in third and short. But how many times did we see a negative run or a go screen that loses 2 or 3 yards on first down, and now you're in second and long? So this offense is not good enough right now to overcome 2nd and 14 every possession and, you know, multiple times. Every once in a while, you can overcome that. But this offense needs to have first down production in order to stay on the field. They're not... Without Malik Neighbors, they don't have that explosive playmaker guy that's just going to run by a defense. So You're not getting the big chunk plays. I thought Devin Singletary ran really hard in this game, but you know, the offense is going to be 12, 13, 14 play drives. And then conversely, defensively, they've got to do better in the red zone. Like Daboll touched on it, they were 4 for 5. The 49ers offense were in the red zone. When you get down there, that's when you've got to be playing your best football. And 2 weeks in a row now, we had a running back running wide open in the red zone. Nobody even knows that he's running out on a pass route because nobody's even trying to rush over there. So those are things that there's no excuse for. They've got to be better in the red zone. If you could force teams to kick field goals, now you keep yourself in the game.
Absolutely. And another thing we heard Daboll saying, you know what, Jackson Dart, tough kid, gritty, kept fighting. We're going to hear from him as the show rolls on. But first, I want to remind you guys, keep with us here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Quarterback at the podium next.
Everybody's still out here fighting for something. So, you know, you got to keep your head on straight and just keep coming into work each and every week, and good shit's going to happen eventually.
How do you think Jackson's handling this?
I mean, he doesn't take losing lightly, and I love him for that. Obviously, you don't want a quarterback that's just okay with losing, and he wants to do everything that he can to get this thing back on track.
When you say he doesn't take losing lightly, other than not looking happy, how does that manifest itself?
I mean, you can just hear the way he talks after games and the way he wants it so bad. You know, I mean, just whenever you see him and you talk to him after a game and after a loss, you know that he doesn't like losing.
That's Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson as we take a look at his numbers from Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. 9 receptions, 46 yards on 11 targets. Wan'Dale Robinson, welcome back to the show. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn, Burke, and Shaun O'Hara recapping this one. 34-24 is the final in favor of the Niners. Shaun, one thing that Wan'Dale talked about is how much Jackson Dart doesn't like to lose. We saw Dart at the podium last week after his game. We heard Daboll talking about that too, how the young rookie quarterback has already stepped into a leadership position. How much do you like seeing that from him, and how would you handle, helping him navigate that?
It's a quality you have to have.
Yeah.
And you have a franchise quarterback when you've got a guy that's not going to settle. And look, he's elevating everybody else, and the accountability factor is real with Jackson Dart. He doesn't like moral victories. He won't talk about stats and, hey, we did this well. No, we didn't get the win. We lost. It's not good enough. So I like that it's kind of contagious, and Wan'Dale feels it, and he knows it. But I think he and Wan'Dale have got a good relationship too.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart's looking for Wan'Dale. On third down, he's looking for his boy, and I think they've got a good rapport. He's got confidence that Wan'Dale is going to be where he needs to be when he does call on him and when he throws in the football. So, look, Wan'Dale, he's fighting his butt off, and he's a competitor as well. I think as a receiver and as an offensive lineman, you love having a guy like that at quarterback. You love having a guy that's got that grit, that comes into the huddle and has this no-quit attitude. That's what you need. And, look, it's tough right now. Things aren't going their way. But if you keep fighting, eventually things will start to turn around.
Absolutely. You mentioned the trust Jackson has in Wan'Dale. He was the Giants receiver with the most targets, 11 targets on the day, as Jackson Dart clearly looking his way quite a few times. A lot of changes, especially since Dart's bestie, Cam Scattaboo, out for the season. We're wishing him a healthy recovery. But the run game kept going. One of the guys that made up for the loss of Scattaboo today, Devin Singletary, is speaking in the locker room now. Let's send it down.
Devin, for the fourth time since Dart became a starting quarterback in the 6 games, you guys took the opening drive down the field for a touchdown, and it looked like it was going to be a great day offensively, but things that went south. Could you identify a common thread as to why that happened?
Yeah, it was just, it came down to execution. It was just shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's really what it came down to, mistakes. It was mistakes that we couldn't have. That's what it came down to.
A lot of times people will talk about the tempo and the no huddle, and you guys seem to really be effective most of the time when you do that. But what are the challenges in trying to do that more often than just periodically?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you're going fast sometimes and then you get a 3 and out, and it just seemed like in the blink of an eye what happened. And so momentum, and that comes again with execution. Execution fuels energy. So I think that's the biggest thing.
We've talked about Jackson Dart and his heart, his excitement, his enthusiasm as your guys' leader. Could you sense the fact that he continued to fight for the 4 quarters and kept trying to get you guys back in it?
He a dog. He never going to give in. He never going to give up. He definitely fought to the end.
Yeah. Final question. When you look at this team and you understand that you guys have taken a bunch of gut punches, how in the world do you keep things together?
Yeah, that's the name of the game. You got to. We got a lot of great guys in the building. It's a good brotherhood around here. So, when things get tough, you got to be tougher.
Devin, always appreciate your time.
Definitely.
Thank you.
When things get tough, you've got to be tougher. That's Devin Singletary, Giants running back. So we take a look at his numbers: 43 yards on 8 rushing attempts, an average of 5.4 per carry, and a 14-yard long as the Giants fall to the San Francisco 49ers 34-24. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Sexy Dexy after the break.
Defense for the last 2 games and change. Played great for almost the whole Denver game, then obviously the end of that game. And then these past 2 games have not worked. So what has happened?
We got to watch the tape. I can't really pinpoint anything at this moment, but you got to break down the film. You got to be critical of yourself. For me personally, I got to figure out where I can get better and how I could continue to help the team and go from there.
We talk a lot about execution. Were you okay with some of the effort you saw out there at the end of the second half on the defensive side?
Man, I'm going to be honest. When I'm out there, I can't really, I'm not looking at other players to see what effort they're giving. I'm just trying to make sure I give my all. So, to me, I'm always trying to be a thumb guy and point the finger at myself. So if there's more I can give and it shows that on tape, then it's got to be done.
It's 2 games in a row that down the stretch, teams just kind of ran it and scored and, kind of bled the game away that way. What did you see there, maybe last week and this week?
Defense got to be better. Front 7 got to be better. Back 7 got to be better. We got to be stout, in the run game to even have a chance to rush the passer.
It's Giants linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau. Welcome back to the show. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn, Burke, and Shaun O'Hara recapping this one. 34-24 is the final score as the Giants fall to the visiting 49ers in Week 9. When you hear what Kayvon's saying, obviously you're out there, instead of pointing fingers, you're pointing thumbs, thinking about how much you can do better as an individual. What do you make of his reactions there?
Yeah, I thought Chip just put on a clinic right there. Don't take the bait. Like, he talked about himself, and that's what you want to see. Look, he's a veteran leader on this defense. Look, not a huge production day for him, but look, the effort was there. It's just the execution. And I think every player, whenever you're on a situation like this, all right, you're 2-17, people are coming for you. They're looking for a way to fragment the locker room and to get you to start blaming other people. And he took it on the chin. No, I got to get better. All right, I'm focused on myself. I got to make sure that I'm part of the solution and not part of the problem. So I thought he handled all that really well. Look, this defensive line, I think that they expect more of themselves. I think they expected to have more of an impact in this game.
Right.
Especially when you look at what the 49ers, they've really struggled up front with their offensive line. So I think they were hoping to have a bigger production day. But, they are going to handle this like I think they will. Brian Burns is a great leader. I know Dexter, Thibodeau, even Abdul Carter, they've got a good nucleus in there, and they've got a heck of a defensive line coach. Dre Patterson, their D-line coach, he will not let these guys fragment. He will not let them point fingers. They're going to regroup and find a way to get it right.
Right, some big plays on the day, a couple sacks from this Giants defense, including one from Brian Burns. He's now got 11 on the season. His career high on a season is 12.5 on a full season, but we're only 9 weeks in. He's at 11 right now, and some pivotal plays right there, but it wasn't enough as the Giants fall to the Niners 34-24. Let's send it down to hear from another member of this Giants defense. Dexter Lawrence is speaking to the media.
I don't think there was any lack of effort. I think everybody played hard. We just didn't make the plays.
Dexter, 2-7. Obviously, as you know, you guys started 2-13 last year, 2-8 the year before. You've been here for some 2-ends, before that. How sick are you? Just not even being in it.
Winning is everything. And right now we sitting at 2-7. We got to come back next week and win.
How would you assess your individual performance, Dex?
I think I was getting a lot of knockback, a lot of push, seeing a lot of doubles, same stuff. I think I'm playing well, but you got to make the plays. Got to make more plays.
Sorry for finessing similar to this, but at one point in the fourth quarter when they had a big lead, they were averaging almost 6 yards a play. What do you think about that, just from a defensive standpoint?
We didn't make the plays that came to us.
Dex.
Do you have any desire to play anywhere else?
I don't.
How can you help lead a turnaround here?
Just keep leading. Eventually the wall will break, and that's just what I got to do as a leader.
When you have 3 straight games where the defense allows over 30, there's a lot of pride within this room, and right now it doesn't seem like anything's getting better. So how do you turn it around? Where does the change come from?
I think everyone as an individual has to look at themselves and see what if they're executing, if they're in the right spots, if they're doing the right thing, if they're studying longer, if they're making the plays that come to them. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's Dexter Lawrence. But Giants fans, download the all-new Giants mobile app for breaking news and exclusive videos, updated with a brand new layout, plus the Giants short stories feed and the Pocket Game Day Ticket Holders Hub. Download it for free at the App Store or Google Play. After the break, we got more to come, including Jackson Dart, but it was a legacy game. Look at Phil Simms out on the field.
Oh.
Get some vintage, even a Phil Simms bobblehead for Giants legacy game. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Hope you all had a happy and safe Halloween. I know Charlie Manning did. Eli's son said he wanted to dress up as his favorite Giants quarterback ever for Halloween. Got his wish, dressing up as Jackson Dart with the chain and everything.
Yeah. He got his wish, and he got that chain on. Not
choosing to dress up as his dad, two-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning, but choosing Jackson Dart. That's got to be humbling for Eli.
I think it probably stung a little bit for Eli. But, look, Jackson's got more drip. Like, I can't blame Charlie. Charlie likes to see a mobile quarterback. Eli couldn't move, can't run. So I think it was a no-brainer. I think
Plus, Charlie liked the chain. I mean, Eli was saying he wanted to wear that chain all week, and they're like, no, we got to wait till Halloween. But you know what?
Jackson saw the outfit, and he loved the chain.
Loved the chain.
He loved it.
I know it's got to sting a little bit for Eli that his son chose a different quarterback, but I do know that somebody close to him did dress up as Eli Manning this Halloween, and I think we've got a photo. Oh, look at this. Shaun O'Manning. What a costume,
what is
Shaun.
That right there, my arms have never been that skinny. Look at those. Is that a string hanging out of the jersey, or is that his arm? I can't. Like that right there, I feel like that's bizarro world. But wow, what do you guys got? Way too much time on your hands.
You know, this is called joy and creativity, Shaun. That's the kind of costume that gets you a full-size candy bar trick-or-treating at the house.
That's my Halloween costume for next year. Yeah,
Yep.
I like that one.
Did you and the family dress up this year?
Yeah, we did. Actually, my son went in Scattaboo.
Oh, wow.
So he was Cam Scattaboo, and when Cam got hurt, he was like, what do I do? Should I wear a walking boot to kind of sympathize with him? So, it was great. We had Scattaboo and Dart. Jack and Charlie were rolling around together, and it was great. They're best friends. Scattaboo and Dart, they're together.
4, 4, and 6 in the trap. You know, we saw quite a few kids on social media dressing up as Scattaboo and Dart for Halloween.
I think it was the #1 costume.
It was, and the fact that, you know, in their rookie seasons already, they're making such an impact on the Giants fan base, on the area, and on the young generation that's so excited to watch them and dress up as them for Halloween. What does that mean about the culture of this
love
team?
it. Like the generational fans here that are coming to the games to watch guys like Scattaboo and Jackson Dart. It's something that, you know, look, that's something that has been missing, you know, and I think they love the energy that they bring. They love the style. They've got a little pizzazz. They've got this intensity to them. And look, they miss Scattaboo out there. Like not having him today, you could definitely tell there was a little bit missing with the physical pounding run game. But I think for Giants fans, knowing that those two guys are going to be your cornerstones on offense along with Malik Neighbors, that's a big.
Yeah, well, it's sort of one of the headliners of the Halloween costume circuit. Jackson Dart, the quarterback, is at the podium now.
Jackson, first off, how you feeling physically? You took some pretty big shots today.
Yeah, definitely took a few hits, but you know, I made it out good.
Jackson, you guys in 6 starts, 4 opening drives, you scored touchdowns. What is it that you're not able to execute later on in the game to have that same success?
That's a tough question. You know, we just had like penalties on, you know, situations that really hurt where it's a, you know, very manageable first down. I think that we were great on first and second down, so we got into a lot of third and longs, and in this league it's really hard. I mean, you know, they did a really good job of just keeping everything in front of them, and you know, there just wasn't a ton of opportunities to, you know, get behind them, just kind of how they're playing coverage, and you know, that's kind of just their motto. You know, they want to see, you know, if a team can continually stay positive to drive down the whole field and not give up big plays. So when you get into third and long situations, it makes it really hard.
When you beat Philadelphia, you and Cam were kind of like, you don't want to be lumped in with the losing of the past, right? Is there anything you see that is sort of carried over? Like, obviously you're separate, right? You weren't part of that, but is there anything you see that kind of when things go bad, maybe you're not able to get it back moving in the right direction here?
I mean, that's a hard question too. You know, the biggest thing is, you know, I just think that we got to be able to not just let things collapse a little bit. You know, good plays are going to happen for the other team. That's just the league that we play in. And we can't let one lead to another. And I think that's just something that we need to get better at. Like, we have to have the intensity, the focus as a whole team to, you know, weather the adversity storms and, you know, always just keep the belief that we're going to win. You know, I think at times, you know, we just let, you know, a few things lead to another instead of just, you know, shutting it down one play at a time.
How much does that belief get tested?
That sound from Giants quarterback Jackson Dart is brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Shaun, we hear kind of the defeated nature in his voice. How do you kind of maintain that fervor week in and week out when you can hear how kind of down he's getting with the loss?
Yeah, he seems frustrated, and I get that. And then he also knows that there's nothing he could say right now that's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
You've got to go back to work. You've got to clean things up. You can't beat yourselves in the NFL.
Back to work, clean it up. Another game on the horizon next week at Chicago, but that's a wrap for this week. For the Super Bowl champ Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for watching Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. We're back every week after Giants right here on Giants.com, MSG Networks, and the Giants YouTube channel. We'll see you next week.